whatever this is. So let's check our feed, make sure that things are working today. Appears to be good. All right. So where did we leave off? Last time we were dealing with finishing up this strip, and that's going to be my goal for this afternoon, unless I get interrupted for some reason. But we had finished all of the environmental stuff for this last Sunday strip, which was introducing a new scene with these props in the kitchen and the new bedroom scene at the assisted living place. And then using that stuff, I kind of cobbled together another backdrop here for the next daily strip. So strip 156, this daily, has to do with bringing stuff back to Mom. Stuff that she requested that we bring from the house, including smokes, because she needs some new cigarettes. And, this has to take place in the backdrop of this new assisted living place. The following strips do not take place there. We have a doctor's office visit, and we have a continuation of the doctor's office visit. There's a couple of strips here where I'm talking to the doctor, and then of course driving home from the doctor. So all that stuff I had a chance to start to flesh out beforehand. Then I'd backtracked and dealt with the Sunday strip where I managed to deal with the, all the new environmental footage, and then use that to create the situation here. So we're going to go ahead and continue this. We have to sketch our characters one more time for the last panel, and then ink everything. So we can get started doing that now. So for the sketch layer, typically, and this kind of goes back to doing comics in pencil, with blue line paper. I still use blue sketch lines for everything. There was once upon a time a reality where you could do your sketches in blue, and then if you photocopy them the right way, they won't scan in the blue color, and so you can eliminate your sketch after you've inked just by the simple scanning pass. So yeah, that's kind of a vestige of a long gone era now that everything is digital. So for starters, let's see, I want to mimic the same size of these characters, and so I'm going to just drop these here as sort of a placeholder for now. And just to get my sizing right, I'm going to do some skeletal sketches, on top of this. Oh, and let's review one more time. What is the goal of this last frame? Emily says, I saw some ashtrays outside. Steve says to Mom, yeah, I think you have to smoke outside. And she complains it's a free country. So she has to look kind of smug, and we have to look like we're offering advice. Let's see, maybe Emily should be looking towards Steve in this one. So we'll imagine that the eyes are kind of looking up this direction. Like she's telling me that there are some ashtrays outside. Whoops. My iPad is doing that ridiculous thing again where it wants to be unresponsive. I swear it has something to do with being plugged in while I draw. It's if I understand what other users have been saying who have this problem, there's like a static charge that your hands are likely to develop and sort of interact with the screen with it, and this is all exacerbated by having the device plugged in for some reason. Either way, it's completely unacceptable, and Apple can suck it. I'm done with these fucking people. So I don't want to copy exactly the same direction that the head is facing. Too many panels with the same exact bearing is going to look a little phoned in. So we want to avoid that. And already I'm seeing that, like, I'm probably going to want to separate these two characters even in Sketch, because I might have to do some repositioning. So duplicating the sketch layer, let me just erase one character on one, then erase the other on the other layer, and now we've separated them, which means I'm free to rotate things. Oops. Might be good if I selected a pencil before drawing. It's the fun thing about cartoony hair. Your head can turn almost all the way around and the hair can still face the same direction. Now, okay, let's rethink that. I'm supposed to be telling Mom that there's ashtrays outside. So really, we need to be facing her. Whoa, wrong layer. Let's start that process over again. Initial circle is a little big. So in actuality, it looks like the character is going to be facing mostly the same direction. It's just, instead of 3/4 view, you need to go to almost a full profile. So I could do the whole side mouth thing, which I might end up doing. I know side mouth gets a lot of hate these days, but as far as a stylistic choice is concerned, you know, it works for me. It works for what I'm doing. I don't always have to go to full anatomical precision. I'm forgetting the name of the cartoonist, but there is somebody online that has an amazing guide to drawing expressions, and it's all based on these like characters who look like anthropomorphic cats. And yeah, that guy, he's an amazing artist, but he is the #1 side mouth hater. So one thing that I did here that I probably need to undo is I drew the glasses in first. That's never a good idea. I need to refine the head shape a bit before doing all that. So yeah, glasses will pretty much sit like that, with the frames going just under the eyes. That's good enough guideline for now. Now I probably want to do something different with the arm here. I'm thinking, if I'm saying, hey, there's ashtrays outside, you know, let's kind of point towards outside, maybe with a little backwards thumb action. So if I were doing this, I would say the arm has to face forward a little bit. I've noticed it's kind of tricky to get the backwards pointing thumb to look right. I've done this a few times now. And you have to get the proportions of the hand just right, which is the point of dismay for me because hands are always a bit of a struggle. You know, like if I don't get that perfectly right in the inking phase, it could look like I'm just scratching my neck or something. Let's make sure the beer belly is captured here. All right. Okay, well, this is probably good enough to get started with the inking. I should definitely figure out what Mom's doing, though. So she's smoking in panel 3. And we need her to be a little upset. She's saying, it's a free country, I can do what I want. Maybe all that needs to happen is she needs to be walking away, cigarette in mouth. Doesn't even need to have a hand on it, right? So, oops. Once again, let's use this previous sketch just as a size reference. We'll have her walking away. Let's see. Did I get rid of my extra people layer yet? Good. Got to delete layers as you go with this. Adobe Draw has sort of a limited number of layers, which I've mentioned before is something that I find really conducive to being creative. I'm the kind of person that if you have, too much of an empty canvas, you have all the tools in the world and all the layers available to you, you start getting like writer's block or artist block. At least I do. And I want to take my stuff too far. I never really know like when the piece is done. So having limitations like that allows me to set limits for myself, cut off points where I know like, hey, okay, this is as much detail as I can fit in this panel. Let's just stop there and move on. And in the case of having a limited number of layers, there's only so complex I can make a certain drawing or architectural kind of panel. So it keeps the geometry and everything very consistent and limited. Okay. Back down that opacity. And let's start filling in sketch layer here. So maybe her shoulders won't be so slumped. And we'll maybe swing the arm forward like she's walking away. Maybe. Make that reference layer really, really dim. So thumb, a couple of fingers. Cool. So now she's marching away, somewhat indignant. Let's make her a little bit disgruntled too. Her eyebrows have to convey that she's annoyed. Because that is one thing Mom always was. She was annoyed. That cigarette's a little tapered. Looks a little bit more like a spliff, but we will solve that when we get to inking. So where are we? Let's turn off the background layer so we can see what we're doing. That'll probably do, but she also needs to be talking with the smoke in her mouth, right? So we do need to do a little bit of side mouth. Like she's biting down on one side, that like Popeye kind of look. Okay, so at this point I'm tempted to correct the proportions of her face. It doesn't really feel there yet, but yeah, that's the kind of thing, once we get into the inking, it'll be a lot easier to do that. I just have to remember to keep my layers separate when I get there, and then I can fine-tune the positions of things. Like, I'm already kind of not feeling some of the proportions here. Let me, let's see, let's just erase the head. I've duplicated the layer. Let's erase the head on one, then erase the body on the other so we can separate things, get independent control. So what is it that's bothering me? Well, number one, just her body feels like it needs to be a bit more rotund. She needs more mass. So widening it helps a little bit. Number two, the head's got too much of a forward pitch to it. Yeah, but see, you know, now she doesn't look like she's really got any momentum. She needs some forward momentum. You know, it might just be a matter of rotating the body. I have to do it twice, otherwise, you know, just rotating a little bit, the snap is going to work against me. But you know, maybe a little bit of a forward tilt. Is it the leg that's the problem? I may be overthinking this, as I have a tendency to do. Let's leave it alone. Let's wait till we get to the inks, and then we'll figure out exactly where we went wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's not wrong. Maybe it's just a work in progress. So at this point, I'm definitely confident that I can just merge these sketch layers and it won't be a problem. Conserve some layers. And let's move on to starting the inks. Since I'm least convinced that I did the sketches right for her, let's do her first. Mom's head it's more of a rounded rectangle. than anything. So yeah, that's a better shape, I think. And let's get some hairlines going here. Mom's hair is really interesting to draw. It never quite is the same twice, but no matter how wild it gets or how much extra you put in here in terms of complexity, it still always feels right. Maybe that says something about the messy and chaotic hairstyle that she has. Something that's developed over time is this leaning pupils thing. I'm not exactly sure when that started, but for a while, I would do, Mom's eyes are pretty simple, right? They're just a slightly arched, tapered line. Just do two of them. And then in the beginning of drawing her, I kind of just kept it really subtle like this, and they were filled. But then over time, I started doing more, open circles with the other characters, and so hers started going that way too. But yeah, then I noticed something really interesting, which was these kind of C-shaped pupils that I'm doing. If you leave them open on one side, it lends a certain directionality to them, which is fascinating. Kind of a cocked eyebrow. So, if she was looking down, it would be like that, like looking back and down. And, that has something to do, I guess, with the pupils being cut off by the lower eyelid. But, yeah, I don't know, this leaning thing. Don't know when it started, don't know where it's going, but I like it. You can see how that's played out in other situations. Here's a good example of the leaning pupils. Yeah. So let's go ahead and just erase these guys. And back to Mom. Okay, so I did exactly what I said I wasn't going to. I started doing the facial features and the head all on the same layer. Let's break it up. Now if I there we go. If I separate this line here, then I can tap and hold, and then I can delete big chunks at a time. Oops. Which is handy if you're trying to erase some stuff that's really close to artwork you want to keep, right? These curves don't have to be perfect, but I wanted to make them a little better. Tap, tap, tap. Come on. Sometimes the iPad takes time to catch up, too. Okay, so we have her face on another layer. Head shape on the lower layer. So here she is. Gotta be a little grouchy. Are you the kind of person, like I am, that makes facial expressions when you're drawing that facial expression? It's virtually impossible for me to draw a face without making that same face while drawing, which is hilarious if I'm out in public. Before COVID happened, I was really fond of going and pulling up a stool at one of our favorite pubs or something and drawing there, and you start doing these characters and people are like, what is this guy doing? He's angry at his iPad. Yeah, spoiler alert, I usually am angry at my iPad. I have always drawn cigarettes based on the way they appeared in Bloom County. I don't know if anybody watching this remembers Bloom County, but it's one of my favorite comic strips from when I was a kid. It was definitely one of those that I was reading before I could truly appreciate the content. There was some mature topics in there, politics and whatnot, and you know, reading back through Bloom County these days, it's like reading it for the first time. You get to really draw new connections to things. But yeah, I think it was the character Steve Dallas. Whenever he was smoking, you know, he had this grandma ash. So, you know, okay, I'm doing those little ashy bits using my round brush, just tapping with my finger. But they're a little too uniform. I think if I use the taper and kind of speckle it with the stylus so that the pressure adds a bit of something. Yeah, it's more randomized, more variated, more varied. Is variated a word? It is now, man. That's a little much. That's starting to look like some sort of magic wand. Okay, so these, if I had to get really accurate, these are, she did smoke lights. They didn't have a different color on the filter side, but, you know, who's counting? The box doesn't say lights on it. So I like I said, I had these layers separate for a bit here for a reason, and that is so that if I needed to fine-tune the position of the face, you know, it's easier to do. But I think I might have gotten it right on the first pass. It's feeling good. Her face is a little bit smooshed vertically in this one, but that's because, you know, she's got the that kind of dentures profile, you know, when someone's not wearing them and their mouth closes more than would normally happen without the absence of teeth. That's actually feeling a bit better. I think I just need to move the hairline down a bit to match. It's these underlines here underneath the front bangs or whatever that are usually the hardest to get right, because I don't always do them. I know I just got done saying that going crazy with the hair usually never gets me in trouble, but sometimes it doesn't quite work out. That'll do. Let's go ahead and merge. Let's call that done. And you know what? That's not perfect. We need to have some teeth. Or at least, you know what? Okay, so there's another thing I've been doing a lot of lately is just this curve in the back of the mouth to indicate a tongue. I always have a... Okay, so I have this the desire to do this anime type of mouth, you know, all the time, where you've got the mouth and then there's like the little canines, like so. Maybe the tongue on the bottom. And so I run into an inner conflict when doing that for Mom, because I don't know, something about pronounced canines in sketch form when you're drawing somebody with dentures just feels wrong. I never closed the loop on that thought, but I think just like this is probably, it's probably enough. A little indication of a tongue inside the mouth, and we're good. So luckily, the rest of drawing Mom's body is pretty easy. She has the typical, you know, peanut-shaped torso. So, thumb, and my smoothing is fighting me here. There we go, that's a bit better. Let's chop a little bit of that line off, sculpt it a bit. Good enough. Too much. It's too much, man. So this might be where I was getting hung up. It's quite possible that that front leg is too, like she's marching too much. Maybe there needs to be a bit of a stroll going on, which means kind of this reverse curve. In fact, would it make sense to modify this line also? Yep, there it is. All right, so that, you know, it looked like she was stomping away or marching away, and, you know, we're in a small confined space, you know, studio apartment kind of sized room, so it really didn't make much sense, but this feels better. She's just kind of casually turning around and turning her back on us. So, not bad. A minute ago I was mentioning her peanut-shaped torso. I don't know why, but I find the word torso endlessly amusing. I remember being in Budapest for one of my previous jobs, the startup I was working at. And I was having like a stomach ache or something. And coworkers turned, they're like, "You all right?" And I'm holding my stomach. I was like, "Oh, my torso." And they found that like hilarious. Because, you know, in addition to torso just being funny on its own, the Hungarian population found that to be an extremely funny choice of words. And it kind of just stuck after that. I'm a big fan of the torso. And it looks like I kind of messed up here. I chopped into my hand line a bit. Matter of fact, there's all kinds of little mistakes here. Okay, let's go back to our fill color. We're just going to draw a little outline around the entire body. just to create a completely closed shape. Boy, all this torso talk reminds me that I never did finish the anatomy of a cat project that my wife and I started working on, which looks a little something like this. Where did it go? Doodles. Cat anatomy. So, yeah. And this started by my wife saying, yeah, she's got arm legs and she's got jumping legs. And I'm like, can you say that again, please? What are we talking about? And she goes, you know, she's got the legs for jumping and then she's got the legs that are serving as arms. So those aren't called legs. They're not arm legs. So anyways, we've been trying to flesh out what all the parts of a cat should be called. Arm legs, jumping legs, rabbit feet. There's the cat fupa. You got your mouth whiskers. You got your eyelash whiskers. Radar triangles. Twitchy flag. And then the voting mechanism. Now this is very important because when our cat is upset and wishes to cast her vote, she turns her butt towards us. And so we call that voting with your butt. If you keep your eye out. Oh, hi, Alice. Thanks. Yeah, voting with one's butt is happens quite a bit in the natural world. Looks like I got a little extra anatomy here. There we go. Or extra geometry, rather. Okay, so we're good on mom. Let's just put a ribbon on that and call that mom 4. And we will now do Emily. Oops, right there I put the palm of my hand down and left a little circle. It's not in the plan. I might have made her face a little too curvy here, but let's see. Ears are so easy to draw. I get endless joy from drawing ears. Oh my gosh. Nice. Yes, that is definitely... What? Where did you find that? Is that in the... Is that in the emotes? That is hilarious. I didn't realize there was a cat voting with its butt in the emotes. I have, from time to time, been guilty of complaining that Twitch doesn't have the best emojis. It's an emote from the streamer, the Lady Mia. Wow. Alright, I'm going to have to look into that because that is too funny. Yeah, and I'm not seeing it in my list here, so I'll have to check that out. Amazing. Wow. Yeah, I've often accused Twitch of not having very versatile or useful emojis. Once you hit affiliate, you can choose your own emotes. Oh, gotcha. So does that mean you're an affiliate right now? Design your own. Got it. I guess my question is, if you got them from this person, how did you acquire this emote to use it just now? Uh-oh. By subscribing to her stream. Okay, got it. Huh, interesting. I'm learning things today about Twitch. Ah, okay, so mouths are always so random. And one of the most amazing things I've learned as of recently is that the old, the Homer Simpson thing, you know, you've got a head shape. That's a head. Oh my god. All right, hairline. If you include the upper lip like so, you know, this part right here, that goes a long way. And that's like a secret trick. Well, secret. It's one of the many tools of a cartoonist, is to the realization that you can use a profile view lip, upper lip, no matter if your character is facing at a 3/4 view or even probably at a frontal view. Yeah. And then as far as the bottom lip goes, I found that just a little bit of extra body, a little extra thickness right there, kind of communicates what I need it to. Of course, I might be screwing up here. Let's see. Now, usually obviously my wife has two eyes, and usually the one that is not half obscured by hair has an eyebrow that is fully visible. Right now I've done this thing where that's not happening. If that made no sense, check it out. This is what I mean. That, you know, we've got a lot of forehead on one side, enough to expose the entire eyebrow. It's like her entire hairpiece shifted forward here suddenly. Do I want to keep that? I'm not mad at the way it looks. Does it violate any of the cartoon physics? Well, her hair's parted on the wrong side. I mean, I guess that's reason enough to get in here and redo. Dang it. Now I have mirrored Emily and had the hair parted on the wrong side a few times now. And I think an astute reader would notice this. Would they care, though? Would it be just considered the wonky physics of the cartoon world that I'm drawing? Maybe. Maybe. Guess we're going to find out. Oh boy. Now I've done that thing where I erased a line I liked and now I have to redo it. Come on, smoothing. Ah. What if I just undo and then pick up where I left off? This is becoming a whole to-do. This is like when you might want to just consider starting over. I definitely wasted a lot of energy trying to like save existing lines instead of just starting over. Okay, we're gonna have to go through and do the whole head shape one more time. Okay. Oh yeah, well, goodbye eyebrow. Whoop. Boy, trickier than I thought. I never draw her head this way, this direction. Does this work? I think that works. Just add a little bit of eyelash. The more I look at it, the more I'm going to start criticizing the entire thing. Let's just keep moving. Okay. Yeah, frankly, just consistency when it comes to this character in particular is always a challenge for me. And I think a lot of it has to do with this pressure I put on myself to make sure that I'm drawing my wife in a way that is consistent and flattering. There's been some changes over time. You know, like refining the nose shape and cheeks and everything to, you know, be unique from other characters. That's been a thing. Oh my gosh, here we go with the hand problem. Perhaps I'm going down a wrong path here. Yeah. I'm tempted to just get a photo reference and start working from that. Oh, here we go. There we go. Narrowing in on it. That's one of the beautiful things about the undo button. When I was drawing on paper a lot when I was younger, when I was a wee lad, I would typically draw with my eraser a whole lot more than with the lead. You know what I mean? And the only problem with that is then you start wearing through your paper. Now I don't have to worry about that so much. Alright, now do we want to add any like extra little definition to the neck and collarbones? You know, this is something I used to do consistently all the time, and then the more you look at it, the weirder it starts to look. Now see, I put a couple of clavicles over here, but I didn't do the neckline. It might be called for here now. Let's just leave that for a minute. Now in terms of scale, is she significantly shorter than before? No, we're doing okay. Oof. Scooch. A scotch. Do I need to finish the rest of her body? The arm that's not visible? I don't think so. Not this time. So, new layer. Let's do the inks for Steve now. Mm-mm. Too much chin there, buddy. Way too much chin. What's happening? Let's go more square. Better. Whoa. That looks okay. Maybe a little hint of another eyebrow on the other side. A little hint of an eyelid on the other side. Just a smidge. I think that'll do. Let's get the scruff on the back of the neck. And let's start working on the hand. Let's do the hand first. Get this out of the way. This is going to bother me. Okay. Side of the palm. Hey, that came out kind of decent on first pass. I am not mad at that. Okay, and now I am getting blown up by my client. As long as he can chill for 10 minutes here, I can finish off these inks. This might end up being a short session today here. So this has now become deadline driven. It's the interesting thing about freelance work. You know, I set some limits for the amount of time I'm willing to devote to this particular client. So that what we agreed to was 30 hours a week, give or take. You know, if there's if it's a busy event season or something, you know, I'm open to working longer. But you know, 30 hours a week means 6 hours a day, and that's something that I really wanted to stick to when I left my last job, because that was the kind of place that just bled you dry, and you found that you were always working, and it was, especially when you're working from home too, then this like kind of work from home guilt starts setting in. You start feeling like, you know, oh, they've done me a favor. Although that's changing now because of COVID. Now everybody sees it as sort of a trap. But anyway, I said 6 hours a day so I can have time to work on this comic and do things that are important to me. I'm not going freelance to try to, you know, start my own business and make a whole bunch more money or something. I'm doing it to have more quality time with my family and, you know, actually take a pay cut so I can work on this project because it's become so important to me. But the thing is, when you say 6 hours a day, that 6 hours could start at any point for them. So it's like if I get up at 8, do my thing, work till 3, and then say, okay, I'm out of here. But they pop up at 2:45 with something they need by the end of the day. It's like, oh, well, we didn't really negotiate that, did we? And that is something I still run up against constantly. Okay, so this sleeve bugs me just a little. Oh boy. Looks like I got video edits to do after this. Okay, that's fine. I want to change this curve a little bit here though, because I feel like I've got a little bit too much too much arch in my back. Alright. Let's merge those, bring back Emily. Let's get rid of this overlap here. Sometimes you have to make funny sounds when you're drawing. You know what? So there's lines that there's geometry I needed to fill in there, and I don't feel like it, so I'm just gonna move her a little closer. Wait, not too close. Now she's like all up in my grill. I guess I have to do something with this. It's probably fine. I just feel like that's too much complexity for that little unimportant area. Maybe what I need to do is bring my own arm out a little bit more. And sleeve. Oh my gosh, this is a cascading set of problems. Now I feel like these lines need to be moved over. All right, we're good. Done. Time for some glasses. And I think we can now merge these two layers. Let's throw some color in here. Again, I use the bright colors for the initial pass of filling things with color, because white against the white background is not impossible to see, but it's kind of tough. The actual background color in Adobe Draw is some sort of off-white, and it's just easier to see little gaps, stuff like this. That would be a lot harder to see if I was using the final white color. Okay. Scrubba, scrubba, scrubba. Boy, all things considered, today has been fairly quick progress. Seeing a little leftover artwork there. Whoop. Whoop. Swoop. Oops. Normally I would color each of these characters individually, so I have the freedom to move them around a bit, you know, like if I need to in post-production, sort of reorient the way things are framed. It's easier to do. But I'm fairly confident this will never be a problem, so I am now coloring us both as we have become conjoined twins. Looks like another little glitch right there. Oops. Fill that in. Alright, the moment of truth. Is it a completely closed shape? Nope. I'm tapping and holding and getting the nope symbol. So now my favorite game. Let's hunt for the gap. Oh, right there. That was definitely it. Ta-da! Alright, now we switch to white. Merge the artwork with the fill color and call this People 4. I can delete my sketch layer now. And let's see. Let's bring stuff back in. And kitchen. And I think that's okay. Now if I zoom out a little bit, I'm feeling a little weird. It's like her collarbone is rotated, but her torso isn't. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that. Let's just get rid of that. I think that's fine. Doesn't always have to be there. I'm not feeling totally great about this here. It feels like her shoulder is a lot thicker than the rest. Maybe I can sculpt that down a little bit. Emily does have those like ballerina shoulders, you know. Very broad as a result of her doing the fitness instructor thing for so long. But that doesn't mean the stroke width has to be crazy. Okay. Might have overcorrected there. Let's thicken that up just a tad. Yeah, I'm good with this. So that wraps up 156, I think. 157, we've already got this done. 158, I've finished this conversation. 159, it looks like I have a note to fix myself. What is this all about here? Your mom's a bad historian. It's important to keep coming to the appointments. Why do I have a note? Why did I just not fix it? Why did I spend time writing the word fix and not actually fixing the art? There are mysteries in this file. A lot of times they mistake her confusion for a simple language barrier. I think what it was is I actually had this guy here, but it's a recycled pose. I didn't want to use it again because it's so distinct. But anyways, there's one thing left to do. I'll fix that face. 160. Yeah, here's the recycled view. That's done, and then this is done. So yeah, I basically just have to do this one fix, and then I can take strips 156, 157, 158, 59, 60, and 61 and plop those all into Illustrator at the same time. And then start working on word bubbles, and we can knock out an entire week's worth of comics in a single pass. So maybe next time I log in, that's something we can try to accomplish. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to get out of here so I can answer these emails. Talk to you later. Bye.